Welcome to the Wired for Real Estate podcast. Today, we're going to talk about CRMs, which stands for Client Relationship Management Software. A lot of realtors, they get started in the business and they don't really understand how vital a CRM is for their business. So, Melody, what are your thoughts on a CRM?
I think that a lot of realtors also get into analysis paralysis and they get very wrapped up into which is the best CRM for me to use. So
Yeah.
today we are going to go over the top 3 that we see being used by the larger organizations. Obviously, there's a lot more than just 3, but we're just going to focus on 3 today. So you're going to want to stay tuned for this.
Absolutely. The Wired for Real Estate podcast, the show that's all about empowering agents with the latest tech, tools, and tactics to take your business to the next level. If you're a producing agent who's looking to boost your productivity and enhance your marketing effectiveness, you're in the right place.
Join us as we explore the cutting-edge strategies and insights that are shaping the real estate industry today. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, our expert guests and hosts will share valuable tips and practical advice to help you succeed.
So sit back, tune in, and get ready to elevate your real estate game with the Wired for Real Estate podcast. Oh my gosh, This is going to be such a fun topic.
Yes.
Fun topic.
CRMs are always the question, like, which one do you use? Which one do you use?
And you know so when we got started in real estate, what is the answer that you'd always hear when someone says, what's the best CRM? What's the answer you always hear?
The best one is the one that you use.
Yes.
But okay, so here's the thing. There's realtors that consider an Excel spreadsheet their CRM. So in that situation, no, that's not the best CRM that you could use.
Best is subjective. You're right. I think that there are people that can make some spreadsheets that blow my mind, right? Because I used to do that. Yeah, right. So there is that. You can automate spreadsheets. And most people aren't doing that. When they're using a spreadsheet, it's because they don't understand the value that a cohesive software can bring them, or they don't want to pay for it. That's a big part of why people choose not just the CRM, but even a brokerage, right? Like people choose a brokerage because of a CRM. What?
That's weird.
I
never chose a brokerage because of a CRM. I honestly, as a beginning realtor 14, 15 years ago, sounds like a long time. And it was a long time ago. There wasn't actually a whole lot of CRMs back then. My dad, who's a realtor, so I'm second gen, he didn't have a CRM.
Yeah.
He literally was like, can you create me my client database? And he'd been in the business well over 20 years at that time. And I had all the files and I had to go through the files, pull the clients' names, pull the information. So at the basic of a CRM, you want your client's name, email, phone number, ways to contact them. But in reality, you also want to have their social handles.
Yes.
You want to have their birthdays. You want to have their spouse information. We have kids information. We have kids' names. We have kids' birthdays. You can get really granular, and you want to be able to tag things. And why do you want all this? Is because we are in a client-based relationship business.
Yeah. Well,
how do you build on things, right? You can't build a relationship with someone if you don't know. And maybe you remember everything in your head, but I highly doubt it.
Well, that would be fine, except for when you need people to help you with things, right? Like, how's your transaction coordinator, or maybe even a broker or somebody else supposed to be able to help you, an assistant, a friend that's working on files with you, like transactions. If you have everything in your head, they have no access. They have no leverage. You can't leverage your time in any capacity. And so the CRMs help with that. And some of them even come with a lot of automation these days. So that's another topic we're going to get into.
Well, yeah, automations instead of needing to hire somebody to send out birthday cards, for example.
Oh, yeah.
One of the CRM, like our CRM that we use, integrates with AM cards. And so it's very simple to have things sent out. But if you don't have the information, nothing is going to work.
Correct. Well, bad data in, bad data out. So why don't we start with ChatGPT and put into 3 CRMs and say which of these 3 are better.
Well, let's see if we have ones we're going to cover, but we'll see which ones this is. What are the top 3 CRMs to use for realtors? So we're asking ChatGPT what they think or it thinks. Oh, apparently it says his cutoff is September 2021.
You know that. Yep. So, and I want to talk about these.
Zoho.
Yep.
And HubSpot. Interesting because
add 5 more.
I also think that these are just because it's using the internet, right?
Yep.
Um, Salesforce is one of the largest CRM systems out there, but
Yep.
it's not
Maybe
necessarily
core.
the greatest for realtors. I had one created
Follow up
years
boss.
ago, customized for it. Oh, now that
Man,
you've added
yes.
more, this has
I've
become
used a
really
lot of
more.
these. Wise
So
agent.
people who are listening and not watching us on video, don't forget you can see us on video as well. But ChatGPT has listed off, in addition to the first three, top producer, KV Core, follow up boss, Lion Desk, and Wise Agent.
Mm-hmm.
So our plan was actually to cover Chime, KV Core, and follow up boss in today's episode.
Yeah.
But we can comment quickly on these top episode or these top ones that
Yeah. I've touched on all of them except for Wise Agent, which is
I've used
interesting.
Wise Agent.
So Salesforce is interesting because that is very modular in that like it's an out of the box solution that you have to buy add-ons to. And if you want custom things, then you need somebody who's like very proficient in IT. You almost need an IT team to start
So
adding in Salesforce
I
stuff.
use Salesforce. I
Okay.
hired somebody to create it, and I
Yep.
literally spent tens of thousands of dollars because I
Yeah.
wanted to create this for a team.
Yep.
So I had it all figured out. I had the whole LP Mama script. Inside the
Yes.
script, I had it as a form. So when my ISAs would go in there, they would just fill out LP Mama, like the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was built in. It was beautiful. I had reports that I could pull to see how many sales I did in this first quarter compared to last quarter. So it was a lot of customizations of what I wanted, but it was very expensive. And the big
Yep.
thing I noticed was that it doesn't, like, because I paid for it, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to pay for a continual improvement. And
Yeah.
that's a huge part, right?
Yes.
Before Salesforce, I was actually using Follow Up Boss. Spoiler alert, I went back to Follow Up Boss.
Yep.
And when I went back, it was so different than when I had first gone because they're constantly upgrading and improving things. And I think that's the value of making sure you find like a valid real estate specific CRM
Yes.
instead of trying to like, because I'm the queen of workarounds. Like I'm tech crazy. So then I'm like, oh, I'll just be cheap and I'll just do this. And I'll just, like you said, some realtors don't want to do it because they're cheap. Well, I was one of those.
Yeah.
But a
But this
CRM, I
didn't
think
end
it's
up
well
being
worth its
cheap.
money. No, it's not cheap. It's your
That's the
time.
problem. It seems like it would be because you can pick
Yeah.
the things that you want.
But really, it's the time, the amount of time. And I had to basically emotionally remove myself and go, you know
Yeah.
what? It served its time. It's time to move on to something better. I've never heard of Zoho.
So Zoho is predominantly, at least last I checked, is predominantly cloud based, which is where it rose to power. I believe that it doesn't matter what it's hosted on, but because it's cloud based, you can use it on any system, right? Anything that has a browser. So that can be really powerful. So imagine
But
the
isn't that
the
all of sales? Isn't that all of like CRM?
no, no way, no way. A lot of these things have like a local backend.
Oh yes, I remember because I have used many a CRM,
Yes,
like
yeah,
many.
yeah. So Zoho was
Interesting.
one of the early all cloud based, focused on automation, but it was very much like a Google Docs, but like a Google suite for CRMs. Like it was very simple, very cloud focused and working toward automation before a lot of these others were. And they have a because they were so such early first mover. They had that first or early first mover advantage. They have tons of money backing them right now, which is funny because
So
HubSpot is similar in that regard
yeah,
too.
I was gonna say Salesforce, Zoho, and HubSpot aren't actually real estate specific. You will
Right,
find all
right.
businesses using this platform. They are all big enough that they could customize towards realtors,
Yes,
but
yes.
it's not
Well,
built for realtors.
and so like if you're going into HubSpot and you're creating a database for your first time, they'll say, "What industry are you in?"
Right,
And
yes.
then you'll get to pick. And then so obviously you'll say real estate, and then they'll give you elements that they think work for most real estate agents.
I do think these three are actually not cost effective for realtors, especially when you're
Mm.
just starting out. They're quite costly. That's my opinion.
So
Um, yeah.
yes, and HubSpot starts off free. That's how they get you.
Yeah, I
It
know. Oh,
starts
I've
off
looked into
free, and then it's
HubSpot.
like, wait, you have to add more than 100 people into your
Yeah,
database.
no.
They're like $75 a month. It's not really 75, but they get you because you're invested in it and you like it, and it connects with a lot of things, which is another big reason.
So the other ones, like these additional ones that they offered, these now are more specific to real estate that I've seen.
Yep.
Top Producer is an old school, like they've been around forever.
Ever. Yep. They were one
And
of the
I also
first
think their
CRMs that
stuff
I
is
knew of.
kind of 90s, although I haven't seen it lately. Like I used to use their market snapshot,
Yep.
and then it oddly, the product stopped working properly. So an older neighborhood in our city all of a sudden became not an available neighborhood, which was really
Ooh,
weird.
that is weird.
And I stopped using it, and now they're like, you can't just use Market Snapshot anymore. You have to use the whole platform. And so obviously I didn't go back down there.
Yeah.
KV Core is used now by Remax, is just recently, I believe, using
Remax,
KV Core and
EXP
EXP.
Realty, a lot of
But
like,
EXP also has access to Chime, does it not now?
not
Also,
that I know of, unless they just added that.
I thought it was. I was very confused. So
No,
maybe anyone listening can.
they had another one alongside. They usually have two. Like a lot of these brokerages will give you an option for two, and they're going to be at a different cost
Well,
base.
when I was at Remax, they were using Bouge, and
Bouge.
it was
Okay,
the
that's
big
funny.
thing, and I was like all excited about it. And when I was
As
there,
garbage.
and then it just like, oh, we're just testing. It's not
Yeah.
ready.
Hold on. Let me take a step back. I can't say something is garbage, can I? Can I do that like legally?
I don't
I'm
know.
just saying I don't think it was as robust as it should have been
They were
for
good
a
at
public
marketing
release.
themselves,
Yes. Well, it was
but
an acquisition. Bouge
the
was an
actual
acquisition.
product was great, not great.
Right. It was a company they bought. They were like, "We like your CRM." They bought it and they wanted to make it exclusive to Remax and it just wasn't ready. That's all it was. It wasn't
It
ready. It
never
was a
was
small
ready
team.
though, even years
Yeah.
later, because
Well,
now
before
they
that,
just adapted KV Core, which I thought, well, that's interesting. You
yep.
just had Bouge only less than 5-10 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And then Follow Up Boss is one that we're going to be talking about today.
Yep.
That's definitely a realtor specific one.
Yep.
Lion Desk, have you used that one before?
I have. Lion Desk, what's cool about it is very modular. So just like Salesforce is modular, but still real estate specific. And it's when I started with Lion Desk, I mean, I might be dating myself here, but it was like $25 a month for everything. But everything was CRM only. It didn't have websites. There was zero AI integration, zero automation. Didn't but as far as a functional CRM, just storing the data for all your clients, it was on point. It was very good and very
Well,
cost effective.
so Wise Agent I've used,
Okay.
and I believe that's the one that was created by some engineering. Like
Yep.
I nerd out on the whole automation and the creating plans and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Wise Agent did it. There was also another one called Real Evolve. But now I'll tell you, the function came over form, because the form, like the interface was so bleh, like it was 1990s. Like you walked into, oh, Realty Juggler is another one that's super
Oh
cheap,
yeah.
right? I think it's $99 for the year. So if you're looking for cheap, but it is a very, I like pretty things, but I want them to be functional. But I don't want
Well,
just function over form. I want both.
that's actually a really good conversation for when we get into the differences between Chime and KV Core. So I'll speak on that once we make it there. But why don't we start with um, Follow Up Boss? How do you feel about that?
So sure. Follow Up Boss. Are you using Follow Up Boss or using Chime?
I'm using Chime. I have Follow Up Boss for a different business venture. I haven't dove into it like I should because it's not real estate specific, and that wasn't a heavy money maker at the moment.
Yeah. So Follow Up Boss I was using before and I came back to, and I wanted to show everybody, like just talk about it. Why did I pick Follow Up Boss over all the other things? For me, I want simplicity. I want to be able to use things. I want it to be intuitive, right? Like it shouldn't be that difficult to figure out. So I like that you can do tags. There's
Mm.
tons of tags. If you're a team lead, there's reporting, which is really phenomenal. So you can see speed to lead, you can track everything, and you can actually distribute things as well, like in terms of lead handling. So you can actually allocate that. I can't remember what they use it to call, but see how they have, like in here, they've got all these different integrations,
Mm.
200 different sources that where you can get leads from. It'll automatically pump into your follow up boss as a lead.
Can
And
we pause
then,
there for a second?
okay, yes.
Because I don't know that a lot of, especially early realtors, green realtors, understand this concept. A lead is literally just a person that is asking questions and you can have a conversation with, right?
Yes.
So there are a lot of people that get a CRM or join a broker thinking that means they have leads. So when you see realtor.com, you see Zillow, you see Facebook, these are just tools
Oh,
that
yes. These
that
are
will help put leads
where you
into
can
your
get
CRM.
leads
Yeah.
from your own doing. So, for example, Boomtown, that's another. I mean, they do market themselves as a CRM as well too. You have to pay a lot of money for Boomtown or Sync or like it says MailChimp. Well, you're not necessarily going to get, you don't sign up for MailChimp and then go, oh, I got leads. No, you have to create your email list. You have to send emails to people. You have to create landing pages. When you have somebody fill out a landing page, it can go and funnel to Follow Up Boss as a CRM. So I think that's the big key here is when do you use a CRM? You should use it all the time. Like you're saying, once a conversation has started with somebody, they should be put into your CRM. You're noting the conversation you've had, when you had it, so you can follow up, which is the whole purpose of Follow Up Boss, making sure that you remember to follow up with them. So that's just kind of a CRM 101 basic. But see here how it's got, I really like the fact that I have a phone number attached to my CRM. So every time I make a phone call or a text, it actually records it in the client's file. So when I go looking in their file, I can see, oh, I didn't talk to Ian for 6 months. I should probably reach out to him and see how things are going or whatnot. Emails get tracked in here. Everything's tracked in here. I can make notes, that yellow little pin. It's a note. I can apply an action plan, which we won't get into too much detail today. But an action plan is kind of like everyone has a version of action plan on each CRM. They've got a lot of templated action plans. For us, we've created one to follow up with clients. Let's say they've moved into a home. We've created a plan for the next year of how to keep in touch with them, making sure an email is sent out to them once every quarter. So, like 3 months from now, this email is going to go out. 2 months from now, a task is going to come to me to phone this client to see how things are going. So, that's kind of like the basis of our action plan. They've got lots of automated emails. You can batch email, which means you can tag people and you can say, anyone who has dogs, I'm going to email them and I'm going to let them know about this event I'm doing specifically for people who would want to be interested because they have dogs, for example, or children or whatnot. So the reason why I do those action plans is then I can take a look at my task list and go, here's what I have to do for today. Instead of worrying about, am I doing everything? Am I keeping in touch with everybody? All I have to do is these things. We've created action plans for transaction management in here too. So you can keep track of your deal cards. Here it says you can take a look at smart lists. So they have the ability to tag. They've got stages. It's actually intuitive. So you talked about AI. It does let you know that this person has been on the site recently. Not as good as Chime, but guess what? It does actually, this also links to Chime. So anytime I get a client from Chime, it'll actually auto inputs them in here because I live and breathe in Follow Up Boss. I don't live in Chime, even though I have it. But it shows you in the afternoon between your appointments, you can check on your phone and see what's going on. You can text people in here. It also shows you, you can review. It's giving you a list of like what you should do. Do smart list, go home. Like it's giving you basic information. They've got a really strong Facebook community too, if you're looking to stay connected and find out what's going on. But this is like the basis. It's not like everything. I don't know if you have questions, Ian, about Follow Up Boss.
Well, I don't. So one of the things I think it's important to note is that Follow Up Boss does not include things like your website, that's
No.
huge, right? A lot of realtors, they're like, okay, so I have a database for people, but where do they go to search for houses?
And that's something I have always used separate. Like I had used Boomtown at one time for it, even though Boomtown has a CRM. And I know Chime and KV Core have the ability to create a website. This is integrated with the website, but I think what they're doing is they're staying in their lane of
Uh-huh.
just being a really good CRM.
So yes, they do a really good job at that. I have kind of conflicting experiences. Most people, when I meet them, they I'll ask something to the effect of, so where are you searching for houses today? Like, what sites are you looking at? And you'll see them, they'll say, oh, realtor.com, or I'll ask them to send me houses that they've seen that they've liked. That's usually a really good one. And they'll send me like their Zillow page or something like that. And so now I know without having to ask them the direct question, are you using Zillow or something else? Or are you using another realtor site? Because sometimes they don't know. I've had people
No, a
send me
lot of
Coldwell
times they
Banker
don't know.
stuff.
And honestly, they still stay on there. So that's
Yeah.
maybe, I mean, there's different point of views in real estate. I used to be all like, I want them on my side and my side only. I don't really care anymore. As long
I
as
don't.
they're the ones working with me, that's kind of more my concern than anything.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I say use whatever site's prettiest, but validate it with mine. Right. So
Pardon
if
me?
it's on Zillow, I say, but validate it with me or my
Yeah.
site. Right. So if you see it on Zillow, double cross check on my site to see if it actually is there. Because Zillow, there are some situations where people can just post stuff. It's not regulated, or the price might be different, and so I'll have them do that. Another thought is when they're using one of these third-party sites and not your website, if you don't have it integrated with something like Follow Up Boss, then they're just kind of free floating, and there's a high probability that they'll click a button and say, "Show me this home," until
Yeah.
you sat and you've trained them. No, don't do that. But if they're on your
Right.
site looking, they can click that all day because it just goes right back to you.
Yes. And that's something you can pitch to people saying, hey, if you come to my site and use it, you don't have to worry about someone contacting you because
Yes.
I'm the person.
Yeah. Except the AI.
Yeah.
Except the AI and the
Yeah.
drip campaigns and all this other stuff, the smart campaigns, or
Yeah.
me.
Do you want to take a look at, okay, so KV Core is one that you said you've kind of had introduced. We don't have a
So,
thorough
so
knowledge on it. Do you want to do
it's
KV Core
funny.
or Chime?
So let's start with KV Core. Because so KB Core, I used to be with EXP Realty years ago, and I was one of the. So we were still using Conversion, and I think Sync was the other one, and then I was one of the first people at EXP, the entire company, that was on the beta platform when they switched to KV Core once Inside Real Estate bought it, and so my team and I were launching KV Core. We taught classes, all that sort of stuff. So I know it pretty intimately from then. What I can say immediately is that it offers a lot of things. It was always more functional than pretty, which is really important
Which,
for people.
looking at this site, it doesn't look that unpretty.
I mean, that was a few years ago, so they've
Yeah.
changed. They've had time to clean it up, but it started off very kind of like it felt piecemeal. It felt like they focused on the how it worked and not how it looked, which I understand. But a new agent wouldn't be able to pick it up. It wasn't very intuitive. So I think it's improved, but they have so much. It's like the difference between Android and Apple. KV Core is your Android, and I'm an Android guy. Like I get it. There's so much you can do to it. So let's talk about it. Let's see. They have a marketplace where if you want to, well, as you scroll up or down, they have a marketplace where if you want to purchase different elements, like you see that voicemail drop. So there used to be a software called Slide Dial
It's
where
still
you,
there.
yeah, it is. But
Yeah.
so KV Core integrated it.
I
So you can,
see.
right? So they have their own version. And so that's what they're doing. The marketplace allows you to buy these one-off services from them instead of having to go somewhere else and do it. And they'd rather charge you $7 than you pay another competitor $10, right? Because you're already on the platform. So
So
that
is Core
integration.
Video kind of like Bomb Bomb?
Yep, core videos like BombBomb. Property Boost is just like a Zillow Boost.
Okay. And they've got like, so obviously compared to Follow Up Boss, they have more things in that regards. Like this is a website. If for the people watching this is a version
Yeah.
of a website you can do. It
Yeah.
says that there's transaction
Yes.
management.
So KV Core and Chime did this. They added transaction management software, everything except the e-sign from what I no, they have it.
It
Like
says DocuSign on
DocuSign.loop.
there
So
and
now,
Skyslope and Dotloop. Now,
yeah.
if you're with EXP and
Yep.
Remax, they do use Skyslope. So then
Right.
everything is auto integrated, which obviously is pretty convenient.
Well, what ends up happening is you end up with a redundancy, right?
Oh,
So
it doesn't like just sync up.
no, because you have your own. So
Oh,
so right. Like the companies aren't going to give KV Core everything. They're going to
right.
want to hold on to their stuff and manage how the transactions work for
Well, then that's
compliance
kind of
concerns.
silly then.
Well, I mean, it depends. So I've
Because
always
I'm
believed,
thinking as an agent, ooh, cool, everything's integrated into one. I have less things to worry about. Because I see this a lot in this industry. We
yes,
all want something that does everything.
yes, yeah,
Doesn't always do it. Now,
yep.
this listing tools,
Well, it's
promoting your
because every
listing.
state, every country, every province is different.
It is different. Yeah. I know you can't do everything the same. The listing tools, did you ever use this when you had KV Core
Not when I had KV Core, but I use it in
in Chime?
Chime.
Yeah. Okay. And then they've got the website, the lead engine, marketing
So
autopilot. So
let's talk about the lead engine,
yes.
right? So you can purchase Facebook and Google ads through there, right?
Oh,
So
I see.
that's one thing, but they also have this thing where, and this is exclusive to KV Core. Let's say I send John Smith to my website. I'm like, hey, John, check out my website. Here's a bunch of houses. And then later, John runs into this woman named Melody. He's like, I like Melody a little more. Or Melody's like, John, I think we could work together. Maybe I'll give you a better deal. Right. So now
Mhm.
Melody sends him his site. And this is where it gets really funky. It will reroute from Melody's site to my site.
Oh, if you're both on the same
If
site,
we're
like
both on
both
the
on
same
KV
site,
Core.
which if you're at a company like
Wait,
EXP,
what? Hold on a
yes.
second.
Oh, yeah.
So
So what happened
whoever
is,
gets the lead first is going to be
yes,
rerouted.
yes. So what was happening is people were coming in, downloading lists, like buying lists from title companies and Remine and all that stuff, and then putting it in their
And
CRM so
claiming
that
it as
they
their
had all the
own.
leads. It
Right.
was so manipulative.
That's bad.
It was bad.
I wonder if people know that. So then,
Oh no, I
so
know.
how does that work then? If I'm the second in line, but they want to work with me and not that person anymore, is there a like? I mean, assuming there's a way to round that eventually if you actually are paying attention.
I don't know the answer to that. What did change is, so we actually decided to do a team site so that that wouldn't happen. Because if
Right.
we had a team site, we weren't on the high level full platform that EXP was offering at the time. So we created a team site. We had basically a sub site of it, and so with that, if somebody went to EXP and then they went to our site, they didn't keep it at
It's
EXP.
just really messy because RE.A.C.H is one of the largest companies, and so
But
is
it's
EXP.
franchised. So that means they probably each one, like they probably have a corporate account for anybody who's not on a team, like a solo agent.
I bet you though, because the way that RE.A.C.H works is we in Canada, you've got RE.A.C.H Western
Mhm.
and RE.A.C.H Eastern. I bet you it's on that level. I don't know if it's brokerage level specific.
Here, every Remax office is owned by different people.
Yes, that's the truth here too.
So in
But they're
Central
all
Texas,
under a franchise ownership
mhm,
of like the western side or the eastern side, and that's who usually deals with all of this tech stuff.
mm.
So I don't know.
Well,
Anyways,
it's funny because because I was at Remax too for a very short while. When I was there, we were actually using Chime. So they had back agent, but then they
RE.A.C.H is
also had,
using Chime.
because the office chose that. There were about 130
Oh,
agents at that office,
yeah.
and so
Our in
the
Canada, it was
owners and the
not like that.
brokers decided to use Chime.
Yeah, in Canada, it's not like that. The marketing comes from that side, so it's obviously just the way and how they're operating.
Yeah. Well, no, no, they were
Um,
pushing Boosh. We just didn't care.
yeah. Well, we didn't have an option. We only
Yeah.
had that. So okay, KV Core is another good CRM. Again, if you have access to like KV Core, this is not an episode where we're trying to convince you to move off of KV Core to
Yeah.
Follow Up Boss or to Chime. We just want you to use what you're using because it is true. Use what you're using, and KV Core is pretty powerful in what it can do. Now, for those of you who are using Chime or who haven't used it, oh my gosh, you have like a giant bee.
And it's huge.
This is I'm inside and
No,
I
he's
don't
good.
have.
He or she or whatever is making a nest under this fire pit.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah.
lovely. So with Chime,
I'm
now
in.
when I came to Real, I'm like, this is ridiculous. We get such a cheap price for it.
Oh yeah,
I'm not going to look to change my CRM because I'm so invested into Follow Up Boss.
yeah.
However, because they have that website option, I use it as my website platform because I mean, if you look at Chime outside of being a part of Real, it's
It's
quite costly.
it's
I
very
do
costly.
still think it's worthwhile if you're really wanting to invest in it. But I use the website portion just because it makes it look pretty. And then it all links up to my follow boss, anyways.
Yep.
Let me just take a look. So, CRM, AI, the AI on Chime. I don't think there's AI on KV Core.
Well, they could have added it over the last few
Well, I
months or
didn't see it
years,
in their
but I haven't seen it
advertising.
either. Yeah.
So they would have put it in there. I think the
Well,
AI in Chime is something
well.
else because I didn't
So
even know we had it.
So KV Core had they called it AI, but it was just like Chime's AI, which was just a savvy response mechanism. But
Like a bot.
now Chime has actual AI, which is
Right.
a lot more astute and able to understand the conversation. Where before it was just if somebody says like uses the word lender in a sentence, then they'll say, "Let me connect you with the lender" as a response to the prompt. Where now it's they can actually have a conversation and start to decipher that this person needs a lender without actually using just that word.
Well, just so you know, you tested it on my own
Yeah.
and I ignored it for a while and it kept messaging me.
Yep.
I said, "I'm okay. I'm actually the realtor." It
Okay.
didn't actually understand what to do with that. It just
Today,
said,
but yes.
"I will connect you to the realtor." And I'm like,
Okay.
"I am the realtor." So it obviously was confused because it's not set up to do that.
Well, but
Right?
that's the beauty of AI is that depending on how they store the data set for all of these conversations, it will learn. That's the whole point.
Yeah. Well, hopefully no one else tries to pretend they're Melody. But
Well,
anyways, those are the AI. The AI. Also, I'm looking at here lead generation and branding ads. We do actually use
yep,
that now too because we're like, whoa, when you have a listing, it auto populates all of these. I mean,
everything.
I know that with when I was at RE.A.C.H, they had Design Center and they
Okay.
did have these. It was actually emailing you. So when you put up a listing, it would email you all the like postcards and whatnot, just all pre-populated. Chime is similar-ish. They don't email it to you, but you go in and you click it, and a landing page is created, and
Well,
you can customize it too.
so they auto create a subset of things, right?
Yes.
But then they also have a social studio, which basically is like for Keller Williams, they called it Command. Uh, a lot of agents use Canva,
Yep.
right? And so it's basically an inbred, that sounds weird, an embedded version of Canva where you can create templates based on however many photos from that listing. You can say, select these 4 photos, turn it into a flyer, turn it into an open house card, and share it on your social media, all with the click of a couple buttons.
Right. And this is not existing in Follow Up Boss.
Correct.
KV Core had something ish like this.
Probably, my guess is that it's not as good, but that's just knowing, um, comparing it to how they were before. God, you see that thing? Uh,
No, don't make it mad. It's gonna come get you now.
he is. No, he's looking for his
He is
thing.
coming out. This is what happens when you film outside.
Well,
Um,
so just so people know, I'm in Atlanta for an event, and it's beautiful out here. So I figured, why not sit outside? But this could be one
get
reason.
attacked by a bee. So, okay,
I
let's
wasn't
move on to
attacked.
the IDX side.
Yeah.
So, Chime's websites are something else. I've never been so impressed
Okay.
because you used to have to pay 15 years ago for a website design,
Yes.
and they'd give you templates, and they were meh,
Yeah.
and that's all you got. This has come a long ways for it to be a template.
Yeah.
And this is IDX, which if you as a new realtor don't know what that is, it's a feed that comes from your MLS so that
Yep.
houses get shown, not just your listings.
Correct. Which is important, right? You don't want
Yes.
to. You want to have all the houses that your brokerage has and more. Right. So it's
Yes.
everything in the MLS, but it's what's cool about it is you get to see all of the other brokerage listings if you're an individual agent. If you're on a team, I don't know how that works the same, or if that works the same, or if it's tiered. Right.
It just depends on how the team's set up, probably.
Correct.
Now, I it shows you some stills right here. I
Yeah.
have a video on mine. You can put videos in here. It
Yeah.
works so slick.
Well,
And they're so different.
they can be very different. Most
Can't
people just
tell the
start
difference.
off with the
Yeah.
default one and then never actually use it or change their domain name or anything, which is that's sad to me. It's like you have so much power in your hands and you just don't know how to wield it. So one thing that's really cool about both this is both Chime and KV Core. In fact, KV Core I would almost say is even easier in this regard. If you are a coder or a developer and you know HTML or XML and JavaScript, you can turn this into anything you want. It's like WordPress. Like you can take and drop in
I'll
coding.
tell you mine. I don't know coding, but
Right.
this is my
Yeah, you can make it really cool without having coding because it's
so
called
that's
WYSIWYG,
just
right?
my
What you see is
YouTube
what you get.
video that I have linked up here,
Yeah, it's great.
right? And then I have lots of videos. So I have the videos here and I feature one specific area
Yeah.
And then my team is actually my family
Oh,
and
funny.
my two
That's awesome.
assistants. But this is something a lot of people actually are attracted. Like they are like amazed that my family is actually on my website.
Yeah, well, they're actually working. You're actually working with them. But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, a lot of people that are moving there for family, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
a common statement or a good statement to
Well,
make?
and then you can click on here and you can see just whatever write up it is about this client. Oh, I don't even know if you can click on this. There we go.
Yeah.
This is my assistant. But like you can make it whatever you want. I mean, I have up here the neighborhoods, and this is my own customized thing. You
Yep.
can put a whole list of people in there. You could put whatever you want. You can put your blog. You've got generic, like I put family friendly neighborhoods just because that's I'm allowed. We're
Yes.
allowed to do that here, and then it shows you the map. My settings on my browser are really funny, so that's why everything's so small. But like,
Oh,
what is your website?
yeah. We're
What?
not allowed to do family friendly neighborhoods.
Yeah, we can do that
That's a
here.
violation or
That's a
something.
Canada. Canada's allowed to do something because you guys we can't do half the things you can do in the US, but Canada can do that.
Hmm.
What is your website?
ianofAustin.com, as you
Is
do.
this a Chime site as well?
Yeah. I
See,
just changed
totally
the
looks
front
different.
look. Oh, completely different. I put utilities, I put merch, but over on the left, I put education. I have a calculator
Yep.
for people to be able to use a
And
calculator.
these are all, by the way, people you can just you click and drag it in. It's not like Ian created this all from scratch. This is something that you can just literally create in there. There's his videos and reviews. And you can easily modify. Oh, this is a good idea. I didn't even put my social in here, like the preview of the Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Put your
I don't
Instagram
know.
on
I
here.
I don't know why I did that, but I yeah, some reviews and then different videos, specifically the market snapshot. But then, like, if you mouse over education, like you were doing in yours, so just
Yeah.
mouse over. You don't actually have to click anything. So I put like if somebody wants a remodel guide or a calculator, like I have a paint calculator in there. If somebody's doing a renovation project, and they just link to external sites,
Oh yeah, here's a whole bunch of them.
right? Cap rate, because I get those questions a
What
lot,
is the
and so I want,
utilities?
huh?
What are the utilities?
They're actual utilities. So we get to choose our utilities in a lot of capacities.
Oh, you've linked it.
Yeah, these are all links to different
Yeah.
options for utilities.
And I like how you have your Ian of Austin face here. See, I should change that because I just have
Got to put
Chime
a
logo
yep,
here.
the emoticon. Is that right?
I think so.
Favicon.
But yeah,
Favicon.
so like that's again, Chime has the IDX site.
Yeah.
Now, do you use the
Well,
power
and you see
dialer?
it at the bottom right, the little pop up. So they
Yep.
all have that too. Does Follow Up Boss? Follow Up Boss doesn't have that because it doesn't have a website. But
No,
if somebody wants
exactly.
to interface or have a conversation, that conversation is saved in both KB Core and in Chime. So you can see that they're talking to either your smart assistant or your actual AI,
Yeah, you can see the whole conversation.
and you can see the whole
Yeah.
conversation. You can take over at any time. So they think, like, I've had people say, is that your wife? Is that your girlfriend? Is that your assistant? Right? Is that a robot? Like, seriously, most people
Some
think that it's a
people thought it was
person.
an actual person they were talking to. I didn't even know I had it. All of a sudden I get this text saying so and so wants you to call them. They're wanting to list a house, and I'm thinking, who is this? And who's just texting
Yeah.
me? But my apparently my AI's name is Anna. I never even named her, so it was kind of funny. So
Oh,
you've
I
got
named
power
mine.
dialer. Pardon?
I named mine. Oh, so Power Dialer is great. So you were talking about the phone numbers in Follow Up Boss. Both
Yeah.
Chime and KB Core offer now. They cost something depending on how you have it set up. So with KB Core, you have to buy it unless EXP has included that in the price. With Chime at Real Broker, you don't have to buy it. It's the part of your small monthly fee. You get the dialer. You do have to get a number though. The number
Right.
you own and you buy. It's like $3.
I didn't know about the dialer thing.
Oh
So,
yeah,
and
it's
I
a
am
it's a
considering.
pretty good one.
I was considering moving. I kind of went and decided no, we have too much in Follow Boss. So then, but every time I look at this, I think, oh my gosh, it's just some of it's really smart. This is the
It's
social
very
studio
smart.
you were talking about.
Yep, yep. Well, so,
And
and it says
then
capture leads freely. That kind of goes back into the conversation we were having earlier. So you have this social studio that shows these really cool houses. Some realtors, before they understand the power of a CRM, they will take a link from the MLS and post it on Facebook. No, 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 don't do that. Oh my God, right? You take a link from your CRM's website and then you post it wherever you're going to post it. I don't care if it's Facebook Marketplace. I don't care if it's on your personal
but
page. I
use
don't care
the
if it's
link from Chime. We do that
on
too.
correct. And then it
Yeah.
leads them. So when they click on it, now it takes them to your Chime website. That's how you generate leads, right? If you
And
do a
it gives
video,
you
same
back-end
thing.
analytics to see how many people have looked at it. Now it's not as
Well,
intuitive, for example, as a MailChimp link where you can see a lot more specifics. We've just been
mm,
playing with it. We were on there this morning and it says one person clicked it and you can't click the one to see who it was versus on
well,
MailChimp, you can actually see that.
well, so Chime's analytics can get pretty deep, but it all kind of relies on your tagging that you were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I did a tax video not long ago and I created a landing page for that video and then I tagged it. And so that I know, and so it's both YouTube and tax protest and a couple other things. And so that way, when someone goes there from the video, I know that they came from that specific video.
Right. So I have one more thing to quickly ask ChatGPT before we're finished is what are the top 3 things to look
CRMs are full.
for
Yes.
when deciding on a CRM as an agent?
As a real estate
Because
agent.
we just went over 3 over big pictures, but I want you to take a look at like when you're looking at CRMs for yourself, whether it's these 3 or other ones, what are the most important things you should be looking for? And
Oh, we didn't
so,
even touch on that.
yeah, well, so the
Mobile
first one,
accessibility.
yes, mobile accessibility. I think all of them had it, all of them. So, number 1, ease of use. A user-friendly CRM is crucial. So, you got to find out what's easy for you to use. Just because it's easy for Ian to use or me to use, it doesn't mean it's easy for you to use.
Yeah.
So, a lot of these have free trials, usually like 2 weeks or a week or a month. I would highly recommend testing out the CRM for yourself to see
Well,
which one's actually easier for you to use.
and to add to that, to piggyback off of that, that spreadsheet that you have sitting around with like 20 names, take that and then upload it when you're testing it out. Like have that ready because if you
Hmm.
go to test it out, you don't want to be typing names in. You want to start using it right away. And then maybe you
Right.
can type one in after. So most
And
of them
that's
have
something
called an
that's a
import.
good tip as well. Before you invest into one CRM specifically, use that Excel sheet, or if you don't have one created yet, start it. First name, last name, birthday, email, phone number as the basic information and dump everybody off your Facebook, everybody off your phone, everybody on there. So that's homework you can do while you're trying to decide what are the features I want in a CRM because you need to have that in the back
Mhm.
end. So features and
Yeah.
functionality is also super important. Now, that's also what made me move away from a CRM. So if you have a CRM that you're using that you maybe haven't used to its fullest capacity and you like the features of something else easier, there is a way usually to export your database out of that CRM so you don't have to retype everything back in.
So let's talk about that. Depends on the brokerage. Some
Well, I guess
brokers,
the brokerage and the
brokerages,
CRM.
the brokerage
I
and the
owned my
CRM.
own CRM. The brokerage had nothing to do with my CRM
Yeah.
ever,
Well,
right?
I won't join a brokerage that won't allow me to export my own leads. Like if I
Yeah.
generated, like let's say my sister wants to buy a house, I'm helping her. You can't tell me that I can't download that data. But there are a lot of people, a lot of brokerages, a lot of teams out there that will do that.
Yeah, and
Very
that's
important.
specific to your like team, brokerage, or whatever. But in terms of you, if you're a solo agent and you're using a CRM, any CRM should have the capacity to download it into a CSV file, and then you might have to rename it to whatever it needs to go into the new one. But the features and functionality is something I think you need to make a list of what's important to you, how you function and do business. If you're a
Yeah.
brand new agent and you don't know what to look for, then just look for the basics. So, see, ChatGPT's done a good job in terms of lead management, contact organization, task automation, email marketing. It's got all the basics here. If it checks off all those boxes, as you learn to use it, as you learn the business, you'll understand what actually is important to you. And then the last one, and Ian was just saying, "Whoa, we didn't even talk about this." Mobile accessibility is super important for realtors. You don't want a CRM that's only usable when you turn on a laptop or a computer. You want to be able to
Oh yeah.
access that information on your phone.
Yeah.
Why, Ian?
Well, I was going to do our tagline because if I get a lead right now that came from one of my videos, it shows up in Chime. Well, if Chime has a notification and it's only on my laptop, I won't see it until the next time I'm on my laptop. But right now, I'll get it on my phone. I can open up the app. I can forward it to another agent if I wanted to. I can reply on my phone, or if I make calls, I can have it where it registers it through Chime because it's on my phone, and then all the notes, everything the fact that I made that call, all show up in Chime. So that way, it's
Right.
able to be
That's like
tracked.
Follow Up Boss. He's getting so
Yeah.
distracted by the bee. Follow Up Boss is like that too, and I can take a look and see how many calls did I make this last week, how many text messages I make.
Yeah.
So it kind of holds you accountable as an agent on your actual activity to generate
Yes.
business. And if you're a
Yes.
team lead, it's able to track your team's business. So
Yes.
I would say the challenge for this week is to look, if you don't have a CRM that you're currently using, find one. That should be your decision. And I think you
Yeah.
should, if you already have one, if you're watching this on any of our YouTube channels, I want you to comment what CRM you do use so that we can kind of see
I
what
love that.
CRMs
Yeah.
are out there. Because there's so many different CRMs.
Yeah.
And then maybe someone will get an idea of checking out this one because they saw that comment. So what do we
Yeah.
always say?
Well, and what ends up happening if people have a CRM but they don't use it?
Well, really, what is it? I don't know what you're getting at.
I know it's really bad segue into it causes what's our tagline is where I was going with it.
I figured, but I'm like,
Don't let
does that really go to what you're
indecision
saying?
be the decision. I
Yes.
know, I know. I was
Don't
gonna
let
go with the don't
indecision
let
be the
indecision be
decision,
the
and
decision.
especially when it comes to analysis paralysis on CRMs. That is like the biggest
Yes.
rabbit hole you can go down is the CRM rabbit hole. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
you are a realtor. You got
Yeah.
to sell houses. You got to get in front of people. You need to talk to people, not sit behind a screen trying to figure out which CRM it is. That's why even good salespeople who don't track their stuff in CRMs, they can still sell houses. It's just that you'd be a lot more
Yeah.
effective if you had everything
Yeah.
tracked and automated.
Listen, I knew this woman that used post-its, or not post-it, index cards. She literally carried a
Oh
box
my.
around of index cards. It worked for her.
So
She's
if
not. I
that's what
don't
you
think she's
do,
doing any business anymore.
comment below if the index cards is your CRM. Maybe someone will think it's an actual CRM. All right, we will
Yeah.
talk to you guys
Yeah.
next week.
See y'all soon.